there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Murder School podcast. Welcome to those who are listening and also those who are watching on YouTube. If you are watching, you will see that this week is again a slightly different format, and I'd love to have some feedback. So please just drop a note into the comments or shoot me off an email. That would be absolutely great. I really love to hear from those people who are listening or watching, just to see if I can tweak it to make this podcast more useful for all of you mystery writers out there. So this week, first of all, the writing craft section is all about using criminal psychology and understanding the crime motivations to give your crime novel a bit of layer and texture and depth. So that is in the craft section, which is later on. Before I dive into the production and packaging and marketing section of this podcast, I just wanted to share with you some personal news. Very exciting week for me. It's the launch of my 4th book in my Cozy Mystery series. The book comes out on Thursday, so I am working through my launch plan this week. Now, this is a launch plan which is slightly different to everything that I have done before. So once I've gone through a bit of a debrief and some analysis after the book is out, then I will be sharing with you all those things that have worked in this launch and all those things that I haven't. And hopefully that will be helpful to you guys as you go forward with each of your book launches. Now, one of the most important things in a book launch and in producing your book and publishing a book, of course, is the cover that you use. Last week we talked about the importance of a blurb and how you need a really compelling blurb to draw your readers in to so that they know what to expect from your book, and also to judge whether it's a book that they are going to want to buy and to enjoy reading. But even before they get to the blurb, the first thing that catches your reader's eye is the book cover. It is a hugely powerful marketing instrument. So I'm going to say right off the bat that I believe that it should be something that you invest as much money as you can afford. Now, there are different ways, more affordable ways these days to create a book cover. The first one is you can go to a professional book designer. Secondly, you can go on a platform such as Fiverr, which is slightly cheaper, but you still do get a reasonable product. And there are also designers out there who create some excellent pre-made versions. And all of these are at different price points and can fit all budgets. I would say that unless you are skilled in designing, that you really don't attempt this, because that is the importance of a book cover. It's definitely a powerful marketing tool that can make or break a book's success, because readers are like all humans. Whether we like it or not, we all naturally judge books by their covers. So that is definitely things to keep in mind when you are designing your very first book cover. So the elements of a great crime fiction book cover, because we are focusing on crime fiction, of course. So this is a needle that you need to thread, because obviously you need an eye-catching design that stands out from all the other books on the market, because you want readers to notice your book. But it also needs to be similar and familiar to readers, because it has to convey the genre elements, the mystery and the suspense and the intrigue. Your book cover is going to set the tone for the story. So whether it's a gritty psychological a crime thriller or whether it is a cozy mystery, your book cover needs to convey that to the reader right off the bat. So it needs to be familiar and at the same time be set apart from the other covers. So the first place that you start is researching your genre. Now, even if you are working with a professional book designer, please don't skip the research part, because your book designer will be following your instructions, and you will need to be writing a quite detailed book brief for a designer. Any good designer will ask you to do that. So the first place that you start is researching your genre. So go to the Amazon page for the bestsellers in your genre and subgenre, and have a look about what's working at the moment. Fashion and trends do change, so have a look at the up-to-date best-selling books in your genre to see those elements, and share those with your book designer, whether that's a professional one that you're paying for on or off Fiverr or any of those other platforms, and also having a look at the pre-made versions that are available to you. Do not skimp on this part of the process. So let's have a look at some examples of how other authors do that. So I wanted to start off with an indie author, very, very successful, and have a look at some of the elements that have gone into these book covers. Now, J.D. Kirk, DCI Jack Logan series is a crime thrillers set in Scotland. And with very strong elements of the location. He uses location a lot within his novels. So his book covers have are very location based. They tend to be darker. They tend to have very strong typography and moody imagery, which really conveys the sense of location and the gritty and intense nature of these Scottish crime thrillers. You will also see that throughout the series he uses the same font. His designer has used the same space on the page in the same way throughout. So anybody who looks at one of these covers will instantly recognise that it's come from his particular series. So if you're listening on the podcast, what I suggest you do is have a quick look at the J.D. Kirk author page, and you will see exactly what I mean. So let's have a look at something completely different. So Richard Osman has written a series of cozy mysteries which are very humorous, the Thursday Murder Club series. So these also stand out. They are colourful, quirky covers with a retro-inspired design. Every one of them is familiar. They are colours which are more pastel shades, which really conveys the light-hearted, humorous tone of a cozy mystery series. And again, if you click on any one of these books, you will know that they were part of a series, because there is consistency in the font, consistency in the colour used, and also the pictures that he's used, and the way that the designer has used the whole of the white space on his covers. Now, I also want to point out that not only should you look at the genre, the subgenre, but the sub-subgenre, because cozy mysteries are an excellent example of this. Richard Osman writes very humorously, but there are different genres within the cozy genre, and these tend to use very, very different covers. So if you look at the culinary cozies, for example, they tend to use a lot of illustrative artwork which fill the cover, and again lots of pastel shades. So it's essential that you spend lots of time on the research that you're doing, and make sure that your covers match the genre that you are writing in. It is absolutely essential that your readers know exactly what they are expecting. Now, the impact of a well-designed cover can actually increase your book sales by as much as 50%. It will help your book get noticed in a crowded market, and it definitely entices your readers to pick up the book. So doing that market research and having your cover designer come up with some options which you can look at and you can assess, can really make sure that you're creating covers that resonate with your target audience. And this is all about creating book covers that work for your readers and help increase your sales. So that's definitely something that you need to think about. Another thing that I'd just like to mention is I often get asked about when I create my book covers. And I have to say to you that I really create my book covers very early on in the process, because those covers help me with writing the book. I know that sounds a bit strange, but I'm a very visual person, and it works for me to have the book cover designed. I will already have done some plotting and some planning, so I know what the themes are of my book. So I always ask my cover designer to do the covers before I've even finished writing them. I find that very, very helpful. So that's something that you might want to think about. So now we are going to move on to the craft section of today's podcast, and we are going to talk all about the criminal mind, the motivations and the psychology behind crime fiction that you can use to create very detailed, layered depth to your books, which will keep your readers turning the pages. So that's it for the production section, and as before, please do like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and please do save this podcast to your favorites so that you never ever miss an episode.